I think that was my first episode that was mine, that I could really... It was difficult for me because they didn't really...
Hey there, friends. Close your eye for a second and picture a wide-open prairie under...
know how deep I was as an actress, how much I could do.
You were the only Little House cast member to ever be nominated for an Emmy Award.
Bright blue sky, tall grass waving in the wind, a little log house with smoke curling from the chimney.
Yes, the nomination is plenty for me at that time, where I felt like I could really fit in.
And a big, loving family laughing together even when times get tough. That's the magic that pulled us all in back in 1974 when Little House on the Prairie first came on TV. For 9 whole seasons, we watched the Ingalls family work hard, face storms and sickness, celebrate simple joys, and stick together no matter what. It felt so real, like they were our own neighbors. Millions of kids like me grew up wishing we could run through those fields with Laura and her sisters. But now it's 2026, more than 50 years later. Those sweet kids are all grown up, some with grandkids of their own, and the grown-ups who play their parents have stories that will make your heart swell and sometimes break a little. So grab a cozy blanket, maybe a cup of hot cocoa like Ma would make, and let's catch up with the cast of Little House on the Prairie. Where are they now? You might laugh, you might cry, but I promise you'll leave feeling warm inside, just like the show always made us feel. Let's start with the heart of the whole family, the man who made us all wish our dads could play the fiddle and build a house with their bare hands. Michael Landon played Charles Pa Ingalls, the strong, kind father who taught us about honesty, hard work, and never giving up. He wasn't just acting, he wrote episodes, directed them, and poured his whole soul into making Walnut Grove feel alive. Fans love how Pa hugged his girls tight after a long day or told stories by the fire. But behind the camera, Michael was already a star from his days on Bonanza. After Little House ended, he created and starred in Highway to Heaven, playing an angel who helped people on Earth. It was his way of spreading even more hope and kindness. Michael had a big family 2-9 kid from 3 marriages, and he loved being a dad in real life just as much as on screen. Sadly, in 1991, at only 54 years old, he got very sick with pancreatic cancer and passed away. The whole cast and millions of fans felt like they lost their own Pa. Even today in 2026, people still talk about him with tears in their eyes. His smile, his laugh, and the lessons he taught on that prairie live on in every rerun and every time someone watches an old episode with their kids. It reminds us that real love and courage don't fade away, they just keep growing, like the wheat fields after a good rain. Now let's talk about the steady rock of the family, Caroline Ma Ingalls, played by Karen Grossel. Ma was the one who kept everything running smooth with her calm voice, her sewing, and her endless patience. She baked bread, taught school, and loved her kids with all her heart even when the roof leaked or the crops failed. Karen was a theater actress before the show, and she brought that quiet strength to Ma. After Little House wrapped up in 1982, she went back to what she loved most, live theater. She started her own company in Santa Fe, acted in plays across the country, and even popped up in shows like Moda. She wrote an honest memoir called Bright Lights, Prairie Dust, where she shared the real ups and downs of filming, including some tough days with the cast. Karen had her share of struggles, like working through alcoholism, but she came out stronger and kept advocating for women. Fast forward to 2026, and at 84 years old, Karen is living a beautiful new chapter. She moved part-time to a sunny apartment in Carrara, Italy, after reconnecting with a sculptor she first dated as a teenager. They fell back in love after all those years. She splits her time between Italy and the United States, still gardening, writing, and showing up at fan reunions with that same warm smile. Fans say seeing her feels like getting a hug from Ma herself. It's so inspiring to watch her chase happiness at any age and prove that the prairie spirit of adventure never gets old. Next comes a girl we all felt like we knew, Laura Ingalls, played by Melissa Gilbert. Melissa was just 9 when she started, with those famous braids and big curious eyes. She grew up on camera, learning to ride horses, cry on cue, and show Laura's spunky, brave heart as she became a teacher and married Al Manzo. Melissa did so much more after the show. She starred in dozens of TV movies, like The Miracle Worker and The Diary of Anne Frank. She even became president of the Screen Actors Guild, helping other actors. She wrote books too, Prairie Tale, a cookbook, and Back to the Prairie, where she talked about moving to a farm for a simpler life with her family. Melissa has been married 3 times and has 2 grown sons, Dakota and Michael. She and her husband Timothy Busfield built a cozy home in the Catskills, raising chickens and enjoying quiet days. In 2026, life threw her a hard curve when Timothy faced serious legal charges. But Melissa stood by him in a brave TV interview, saying she trusts him and asking for privacy while they focus on family. She stepped away from her lifestyle brand Modern Prairie for a bit to be there for her loved ones, but she came back stronger, saying it gives her purpose. At around 61, Melissa still lights up at fan events and reunions. She calls the Little House cast her second family, and you can see it in her eyes. She carries that little girl wonder with her everywhere. Watching her journey makes you root for her like you rooted for Laura crossing those creeks. Then there's Mary Ingalls, the big sister who went blind but never lost her gentle spirit, played by Melissa Sue Anderson. Melissa was 11 when she got the part, and her performance when Mary lost her sight was so real it broke our hearts every time. She showed her strength and grace through the hardest times. After the show, she kept acting in movies like The Scary Happy Birthday to Me and wrote a memoir called The Way I See It, sharing fun and honest stories from the set. She met her husband Michael Sloan on a TV set, and they got married in 1990. They had 2 kids, Piper and Griffin, and moved to Canada in 2002, where they became citizens. Melissa mostly stepped back from the spotlight to raise a family, but she did a small cameo in a movie years later. Tragically, her husband passed away in August 2025, leaving a big hole in her heart. But in December 2025, she showed up at a Little House reunion and hugged her on-screen sister Melissa Gilbert tight. They called it a wonderful Christmas gift after years apart. At around 62 now, Melissa lives quietly in Canada, cherishing her kids and the memories of playing the sweet, blind Mary who taught us that inner light matters more than what our eyes can see. It's touching to know she still feels like part of the Prairie family. Don't forget the littlest Ingalls sister, Carrie, who was actually played by twin girls Rachel Lindsay Greenbush and Sydney Robin Greenbush. They were just 4 years old when they started bouncing around as baby Carrie, and they grew up right alongside the show until it ended. Fans adored those chubby cheeks and the way they toddled after Laura. After 1982, the twins decided to leave acting behind so they could go to regular school and have normal lives. They graduated high school in 1988 and kept things private. Rachel reconnected with a man named Danny Sanchez. She had actually met him as a little kid on the set in Simi Valley. They got married in 2014 right under the same tree where they first said hi decades earlier. She's been to reunions and even talked about how hard it was to leave the show when she was young, but it helped her grow. Sydney had her own path too. She loved horses and got into equestrian events. She was married for 9 years until her husband passed away in 2009, but she stayed strong and even started a jewelry line. Both sisters are 55 now in 2026 and still pop up at fan events, looking happy and healthy. They don't chase fame anymore, but they love sharing stories about running through the prairie grass and how the show taught them about family. It's sweet to see those once tiny girls all grown up, living simple, good lives just like the Ingalls would want. Now for the girl we love to boo but secretly couldn't wait to see every week, Nellie Olson, played by Allison Ongram. Allison was only 11 when she auditioned, and she turned the spoiled, mean girl into someone hilarious and unforgettable. Those curls, that snooty voice, and the way she schemed with her brother Willie made us laugh even when she was being rotten. Off camera, Allison was nothing like Nellie. She was kind and funny. After the show, she took a break but came back stronger. She did guest spots on shows, acted on stage, and started doing stand-up comedy. Her one-woman show called Confessions of a Prairie Bitch is a huge hit. She tells funny stories about life on the set, her real friendship with Melissa Gilbert, and how she survived being the town bully. She even wrote a book with the same name, and became a big advocate for protecting kids from abuse. In 2026, at 64, Allison is still touring the world with her show. She was just in France for weeks telling prairie tales to packed crowds. She hosts events, does podcasts, and shows up at every Little House reunion with hugs and laughs. Fans say meeting her feels like chatting with an old friend who just happens to know all the best behind-the-scenes secrets. Allison proves that even the mean girl can grow into someone brave, funny, and full of heart who uses her fame to help others. Speaking of the Olsen family, we can't skip Nellie's brother Willie, played by Jonathan Gilbert, Melissa Gilbert's real-life little brother. Jonathan was just 7 when he started, and he played the clumsy, Good-hearted kid who grew up on screen. He even acted with his sister in other movies. But after Little House ended, Jonathan left Hollywood at 18 to go to business school. He became a stockbroker in New York City and lived a quiet life away from cameras. For years, fans wondered where he went. Then, at the big 50th anniversary celebrations a couple years back, he surprised everyone by showing up. He hugged his sister Melissa on stage, cracked jokes, and said the show still means the world to him. At 58 now, Jonathan is doing great, staying close to family, and even sharing old photos online. It's so nice to see the real-life brother and sister bond, just like Willie and Nellione without the pranks. We also have to remember the Olsen parents. Richard Bull played kind, patient Nels Olsen, who ran the store and tried to keep Harriet from causing too much trouble. He was a wonderful actor with over 100 TV credits, and he passed away in 2014 at 89. Fans still miss his gentle smile. And Catherine McGregor, who played the gossipy, dramatic Harriet Olsen, was a hoot on screen but a sweet mentor off it. She loved the kids on set and kept acting in theater after the show. She passed away peacefully in 2018 at 93. The whole cast sent love and said she brought so much life to every scene. Their memories keep the Olsen store feeling alive in our hearts. Of course, we can't forget Almanzo Wilder, the handsome farmer who won Laura's heart, played by Dean Butler. Dean joined later in the show and brought that sweet, steady love story to life. He stayed close to the cast, helping with documentaries like Little House Homecoming and showing up at holiday reunions in Simi Valley in December 2025. He loved sharing stories with fans and keeping the Prairie spirit going. And let's give a quick nod to Matthew Labiorto, who played adopted brother Albert. He's now doing voice work in cartoons and video games and living a happy married life. All these actors came together like a real family on that set. They filmed in hot sun and freezing cold, laughed through bloopers, cried during sad scenes, and learned lessons that stuck with them forever. The show taught us about courage, forgiveness, and finding joy in simple things like a fiddle song or a homemade pie. In 2026, with a new Netflix reboot on the way starring fresh faces as the Ingalls, the original cast has said they're excited for a new generation to discover the Prairie. But they're the ones who made it special first. They still gather when they can, hug tight, and remember the good old days. Some have faced hard times, loss, health scares, family challenges, but they faced them with the same grit the Ingalls showed. Thinking about all of them today fills me with so much gratitude. Little House didn't just entertain us. It showed us how to live with love. Whether they're in Italy chasing new dreams, on a farm in New York, quiet in Canada, touring stages with laughs, or watching from heaven, these actors gave us something priceless. Their stories remind us that no matter where life takes you, the Prairie values family, kindness, never quitting stay in your heart. If this trip back to Walnut Grove warmed your heart like it did mine, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button right now so more people can find these stories. Share this video with your family or friends who grew up watching to maybe even watch an old episode together afterward. And if you're not already, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss our next heartwarming catch-up. Drop a comment below. Who was your favorite character, and what does Little House mean to you? Let's keep the conversation going and the Prairie spirit alive. Thanks for spending this time with me, friends. Until next time, take care, hug your loved ones, and remember there's always a brighter day ahead, just like on the Prairie. See you soon.